Pat Barnard, Group Managing Editor for TMCnet, coming to you from IT Expo East 2011 here in Miami. And joining me is Jeff Ford, President of Apriva. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing very good, thank you.
Welcome, and thanks for coming to the show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
So why don't you start off by providing viewers with an overview of Apriva?
Okay. So what Apriva does, we actually have two parts of our business. The first part is focused on point-of-sale transactions. Apriva is the leading provider of financial transactions using mobile devices. So pay-at-the-table credit card, debit card transactions. You're starting to see a lot more mobile vending machines with credit and debit. Those are all done through wireless connections, and Apriva's big in that area. And then Apriva just recently announced a product called Apriva Pay, which is a smart phone application that runs on Android, iPhone, Windows Mobile, RIM devices for doing credit card and debit card transactions with mobile phones.
Okay, great. Yeah, and the mobile payment space is very hot right now, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then the other half of the business is focused on secure email, voice, and data communications for mobile devices for government applications, the U.S. Intelligence Agency, Department of Defense.
Right, okay, great. So, also probably a very hot and lucrative market.
It is.
Yeah,
so.
Okay, that's great, good. So how is wireless security evolving to meet market demand?
So, what's happening right now with the new cell phones, I mean, you're essentially walking around with what used to be a desktop computer in 2002.
Right, you could fly something to the moon and back using it, right?
Exactly. 1 gigahertz processors, 32 gigabytes of memory. Those were the specs of the Intel processors and computers that were being shipped in 2002, and you're wandering around with those in your pocket. So security needs to adapt. You now have that type of power in a mobile environment connecting back to your corporate data networks or a government data network, and it means that you have to have a lot more security because the information on there is important, and you can't leave it unencrypted. You can't let all of that data be unencrypted as it's going back and forth over the airwaves.
Right. Yeah. There's the risk of it being captured while it's in transmission, and then there's also the open closed door phenomenon.
Absolutely. Yeah. And over 10 million cell phones are lost each year in the U.S., and there could be a lot of sensitive data on those 10 million devices.
Right. Okay, great. Do you see commercial devices evolving to support security-intensive healthcare, financial services, and government-oriented services and apps?
Absolutely. So in the government space, historically, they've done a lot of special purpose devices. They've gone out and made their own smartphones or their own radios and things like that. But with the power of the devices that are coming out today, they're moving more and more to using commercial technology and finding new ways of using commercial cell phones and wireless plans to create custom applications.
Which is better for taxpayers going with proprietary technology.
Absolutely. Industry moves a lot faster than the government as far as producing new things. And if you look around in healthcare, you're starting to see new innovative ways, people wandering around with tablets, doctors using those tablets for online access to their networks, being able to prescribe from that, do diagnostic tests, and be able on the fly pull up records. Each of those requires, once again, security of the airway, and also how do you authenticate it? How can you make sure that is Dr. Smith that is prescribing that or accessing the records? And so there's a lot of security involved with that.
Certainly in regulatory compliance, HIPAA is what's driving a lot of this.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, it's improving the business operations a lot. I mean, when you have a nurse that doesn't have to run back and forth from the nurse's station to get information, it's improving patient care and improving business operations.
Yeah, and speed. If you can move an X-ray film from the X-ray machine to the doctor in a matter of 30 seconds, as opposed to trying to print out the film, carry it up, all of that. The speed of care can increase as well.
Right. Okay. Great. And what about voice? Do you foresee a demand for fortification of wireless voice communications?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Not many people know it in the public, but the GSM encryption standards have been broken. The 2G encryption, the 3G encryption.
Yeah.
those encryption capabilities are in the public domain, and you can easily break them with a standard desktop computer.
Right.
So,
yeah. For years, you've been hearing about how safe it is, but you would think that eventually somebody would want to figure out a way to do that.
And it has. And in fact, in July, there was a hacker that did a demonstration at a trade show, DEF CON, in Las Vegas, where they showed that they could intercept GSM phone calls and record calls there in the auditorium. So with $1,500 worth of equipment. So there's vulnerabilities there. So the average user, who's calling home to find out what they need to pick up on the way home, or who's picking up Johnny from Scouts that night, not really a big deal. But if you're somebody like Goldman Sachs or a military, when you're talking about national security, these are important aspects. And so there's going to be a big market for secure voice over IP over these new 3G and 4G wireless networks, being able to leverage voice over IP, but then be able to do the necessary encryption so that you're not relying on the standard commercial encryption of GSM, which is now known to be broken.
Right. Okay. So. Right. Great. That's cool. Very exciting stuff.
Yeah, it is.
Getting back to the mobile payments piece, obviously it's very lucrative. It's an exploding market right now, but for a lot of vendors, it's a little bit risky too, isn't it? Because there's new initiatives coming along. I'm sure you're familiar with this concept of, hey, let's do away with credit cards, these stupid pieces of plastic that we've been carrying around for the last 30 years.
Right.
So then that prompts a new look, a re-architecting, if you will, of, well, do we need a swiper anymore? If we're going to do away with that. The systems where you bump the phones together, et cetera, et cetera. So it's an area where there's a lot of change going on, technological change, isn't there?
Absolutely, and all of those things that you're talking about are going to happen. The existing financial infrastructure, the cards and the mag stripes and things like that, there's a lot of I'll say entrenched industry that wants that to stay the way it is, but the momentum of change is not going to stop, and this is a groundswell that is going to happen. And you're going to see on cell phones, you're going to have a wallet, like a digital wallet that stores all of your different credit card information, and then using near-field communications that are being built in new cell phones. The new Android Nexus S has near-field communications in it, so that you can take that and swipe it over some of the credit card machines, be able to select, okay, I want to use this credit card for this transaction, swipe it, and be able to do that. Now that requires a lot of security, because now, once again, in your cell phone, you've got all of your financial data.
Right.
So how do you protect that? How do you, if you lose your cell phone, leave it in a cab, how can you make sure that happens?
Right.
And that's what Apriva does. I mean, we know mobile security. We know how to secure things, at the highest levels of government, as well as financial transactions.
Okay, great. Okay, good. Well, thanks for very much for your time, Jeff. We've been speaking with Jeff Ford, president of Apriva, coming to you from IT Expo East 2011 here in Miami. Jeff, thanks again for your time.
Okay, thank you.